Steel and aluminum tariffs on all countries by March 12th, no exception there. And now, at least 25% automobile tariff starting in April. How can South Korea survive through Trump's tariff salvo this time? Let's turn to Professor Shim Myung-kyu this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So at least a 25% tariff rate for automobiles. This should be another big concern for South Korea, as the U.S. is a huge automobile export market to us, right?
Yes, it is really a big concern, and 25% hike in the tariff rate seems to be really huge. According to recent data, more than 50% of the automobile export from Korea is to the U.S. In particular, about 1 million automobiles were exported to the U.S., but only 40,000 were imported from the U.S., making a huge gap between export and import. Given that the Korean economy now heavily depends on the automobile industry, and about 30% of total exports were taken by this industry, this may be problematic because it can potentially drag down the Korean economy further.
Well, that is why Seoul's Deputy Minister for Trade, Park Jong-won, he is over in Washington to sort things out with U.S. trade officials. Do you think it's too late to try to make deals with the U.S. on tariffs and trade-related matters, or, better late than never?
Yeah, I don't think it's too late because the Trump administration will continue to push foreign countries to boost trade competitiveness of the U.S. There are many industries, like the automobile industry, for example, that have been really important for the U.S. economy for a long time, especially by taking important roles in creating jobs, but have lost their competitiveness in the global market. So I think this seems to be sustained. So the Trump administration will implement even higher tariffs on the other goods that experience large trade deficits. So I think this is not late that much.
Definitely. Steel, aluminum, automobile, and chips and pharmaceuticals will be on the way as well. Now, according to Bach, he'll be aiming to engage in what he calls mutually beneficial discussions with Washington. Now, what kind of strategies do you think Bach has ready to use? I mean, what is it that Seoul needs to work on the most and right now?
Yeah, I think the most important task that the Deputy Minister for Trade is to persuade the U.S. officials with the logic and the data that raising tariff is not the way to improve the state of the U.S. economy. For example, France really reacts to the policy changes, as we have seen for the last several days on the steel industry that has already undergone the higher tariff rate. The firms in the U.S. already respond to the higher tariff rate by increasing the price that they charge, which does not improve their competitiveness in the market, but only increase the inflation rate again. And I think having patience with the negotiation procedure is also necessary because the U.S. officials will not agree on the negotiation very soon.
Well, in addition to government officials, a business delegation is also heading to the U.S. today with investment cooperation plans, including, increasing imports of American energy and also collaboration in the shipbuilding sector. Now, this is offering the U.S. what we have and hope for the best. This is a lesson that we learned from the first Trump administration,
Yes, as you pointed out, we have already experienced the Trump administration more than 4 years ago. It pushes the country using the negotiation power that it has, and as a small open economy like Korea, that heavily depends on the U.S. and export. What we can do best is to offer the U.S. what we can do best, like constructing the factories in the U.S. and offshoring to the U.S. or something like that. So it is make some sacrifice.
Well, are you saying that we need a plan that increases imports, from the U.S. while reducing actual damage? I mean, what could that plan be? Is it just more importing more American cars or American goods to South Korea?
Yes, in principle, yeah, it's possible, but to me, it's not that easy to increase import from the U.S. only by the will of the government. First, effective tariff rate on many goods imported from the U.S. is already almost zero, implying that lowering price cannot be the solution for the U.S. produced goods say, cars to increase their market shares in Korea. Second, consumer demand is also determined at the market based on the quality of the goods and the price competitiveness or something like that. So the government cannot alone boost the demand for the US cars. So my point is that it should be the US funds that attract consumers in Korea by boosting their competitiveness over the other goods, not the Korean government. But we can still make the effort, but I'm not sure if that's that effective.
So increasing more goods from the U.S. may not be the ultimate solution to deal with this whole tariff salvo. Professor Shim, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.